Hey students, let's talk a little bit about factoring or like undistributing. Here's a few special cases you want to pay attention to, like in these four right here. So for my first one here, I have got 3n squared minus 27. I'm going to first thing look for my GCF. First thing I'm always going to do is look, is there a GCF? Is there a greatest common factor? Do that every time. And I see that there is a 3, and my GCF, that is here. Now that I've factored out the 3, I'm going to look at my n squared minus 9. There's a few things I'm going to recognize here. I'm going to recognize that the first term is squared. I'm going to notice that the next term is, my final term is a perfect square as well. I'm looking for like a 1, a 4, a 16, 25, 36, all my perfect squares. And a subtraction sign, because that tells me that this is n plus 3, n plus 3, n minus 3. And that's what I'm looking for, because n times n is n squared, 3 times negative 3 is negative 9, and my middle terms canceled out. So this is what it looks like completely factored. When I look over, like just go down here to this guy right here, I'm going to first check my GCF, and I see 3 again. So I'm going to pull the 3 out, and I have n squared plus 9. Now, a couple things I'm going to recognize. I'm going to recognize, true, that this is a perfect square, and my last term is a perfect square, but I'm going to see a sum here, and there's actually nothing I can do. So this guy right here, this one is finished. I am done factoring. It cannot be factored anymore, simply because even though it has those perfect squares, which is pretty nice, it has the sum of those perfect squares, which I really can't do anything with. Let's look at this guy over here. 3n squared minus 3. I'm going to GCF this. Always look for that. Minus 1. Now this one I'm going to recognize that there is a square here, and actually 1 is a perfect square. And it's subtracting. There's a difference. So I can already see that this is n plus 1, n minus 1. And these are the things you want to start to see quickly, start recognizing. Perfect squares on the ends with subtraction in the middle. I'm going to look at 3n squared minus 6. Ooh, another GCF. It's a 3. So n squared minus 2. Okay, perfect square, subtraction, couple of nice things. This guy is not a perfect square. So this one right here, I am done. This cannot be factored anymore. So that would be the answer to this one. Okay, when I look at these guys here, I'm going to do a couple things. I'm going to try guess and check first. Okay, so guess and check will tell me that I know it's going to be n times something. So n times n is going to get me n squared. So that's set. And I'm trying to get what times what's going to get me to negative 7. You know, my only option is negative 7 and 1. Those are my only options. Okay, let me check this out. N times n is n squared. Negative 7 times 1 is negative 7. Now let me check my outside terms. So n times 1 is 1n. And I have a negative 7n. That ends up equaling negative 6n. And I'm looking for 4n. This guy actually cannot be factored. This is done. This is unfactorable. And when something's not factorable, I call it prime. Kind of like a prime number. Cannot be, like 2 can only be factored into 2 times 1. 7 can only be factored into 1 times 7. It really cannot be broken down anymore, and neither can that number. Now this guy right here, I suspect it's also prime, but I'm going to check it. I'm going to use my guess and check. I'm guessing it's going to be 3n and n, because 3n times n is 3n squared. And I'm going to ask myself what times what gets me negative 3. I'm going to try negative 3 and 1, just to try it. So 3 times 1 is 3n, negative 3 times is negative 3n. Okay, those cancel each other out, so it's not that one. Okay, that's the thing about guess and check. Maybe I flip them. I'm just trying stuff. You know, I'm going to end up with a negative 9 on this one. So I know that's not going to work. Maybe plus. No, I'm going to end up with a positive 9. Okay, so that's this guy, not factorable. This is another one, not factorable. So this one is also prime. Again, not factorable, so it is prime. So you're going to run into that. That happens sometimes. Okay, what's going on with these ones? Ooh, this guy right here. Let's look at this guy right here. Yeah, like you can see me. So I'm looking right here at this guy, the guy with the blue arrow. A couple things I'm going to recognize. Perfect square, perfect square. Perfect square, and subtraction. So I can do something with this one. So I'm going to do 5r plus 6m 5r minus 6m. And if I FOIL this out, my middle term is going to cancel out. And that's really what I'm looking for. Again, perfect squares with the difference, and that's good. So when I look at this guy, I see perfect squares, but there's a sum here. So really, this guy is not factorable. This guy is just prime. Let's look at the bottom one here. Perfect square. Remember, 1 is a perfect square, and it has a difference. So this one ends up being m plus 1, m minus 1. Over here, perfect squares, nice, perfect square, but the sum, this guy is actually prime. Well done, not factorable. Cannot be factored anymore. And these are the things you're looking for. Looking for perfect squares, but you're also, if you see a plus sign, you're seeing a sum cannot be factorable. What's going on with these guys? Ooh, okay, so this one, I'm going to talk a little bit more about how I do my guess and check. So normally we might factor these. So I'm going to guess and check it, and then I'm going to group it, like split my middle term. So this guy right here, because my a term is so small, I know it has to be 2xx, because 2x times x gets me 2x squared. So I know it has to be that. So I'm going to leave that alone. Now the next thing I'm going to look at is I'm going to look at the 1, and I'm going to ask myself, what times what gets me 1? Well, 1 times 1 gets me 1. So I'm going to try it. Okay, 2x times 1 is 2x. 1 times 1 is 1x. Together they get me to my 3x. I'm done. So this is guessing and checking is avoiding splitting the middle term. It's kind of like using a shortcut. It's what guess and check is. You're guessing, and then you're going to check it. If it works, great. If it doesn't, try something else. Now I'm going to guess and check this guy because my a term is so small. I'm trying to get to 7, so I need to ask myself what times what gets me 7. I can try a couple things here. Let me try plus 7 and plus 1, because 7 times 1 is 7. Okay, 2 times 1 is 2x, 7 times 1 is 7x, 7, and that's 9x. Okay, I guessed, I checked, didn't work. I'm going to try another one. I'm going to try my 7 here and my 1 here. 2 times 7 is 14x, 1 times x is 1x. That gets me to 15x, so there's my answer. 2x plus 1 and x plus 7. If you like this, awesome. If you don't, that's totally okay. I'm going to, and you can be done right now. I'm all done. So you can move along, but I'm going to try this with grouping. I'm splitting my middle term, so you can see that process as well. So for this guy right here, this is that x thing where I can go, okay, what plus what's going to give me 3? That when I multiply them together, I'm going to get 2. So it looks like it's going to be, do you see where I'm getting that from? My b term, and then the 2 is coming from 2 times 1. So what times what's going to get me 2? So 2 plus 1 gets me 3. 2 times 1 gets me 2. Okay, so these are all my terms. And now I'm going to split my middle term. 3x squared. 2x squared plus 2x plus 1x plus 1. Now I'm going to group. I'm going to factor. So this first one here, I'm going to factor out 2x, greatest common factor of all that. I'm left with x plus 1. Right here, nothing's factoring out. I'm really factoring out a 1. X plus 1. And I end up with 2x plus 1. And I end up with x plus 1. So that would be me splitting the middle term and then factoring those out. So 2x plus 1, x plus 1. My guess is if we go back, we end up with that answer right here by guessing and checking. So guessing and checking can be pretty fast. And I encourage you to try it out. And you do get better at it over time. And the same thing would happen with the second one. All right, keep practicing this stuff. It's the only way we get really good at it. All right, it's time for a good joke. You can use this anytime you want. What's the difference between an orange, a motorcycle, because a vest doesn't have sleeves? Oh yeah, that's the good stuff. That is hilarious.